What's up, everybody? My name is Bobby. I am the host of the Casual Hour podcast. Today, I am bringing you a quick look on Hardspace Shipbreaker. This came out to early access on PC, summer of 2020. I'm just now getting around to playing it for the first time. Got about 6 hours in, and I thought, why the hell not? Let's go ahead and show you an early take on a game that seemingly has quite a bit of promise. Before we hop into the specifics of it, we're live on Twitch every Wednesday night. We post a few new videos a week, focusing more on quick looks, a little bit behind the scenes on some of the stuff that we're doing. If you like what we have to say, please go ahead and like and subscribe to our channels. We are twitch.tv/the casual hour, and then we'll have some exclusive stuff here on our YouTube channel where you're probably watching this. Now that fun stuff's out of the way, let's break down what this game is. So it is a simulation game. It's a working class game, kind of like a Stardew Valley, an Ooblets, Harvest Moon, Minecraft, Satisfactory, where you work for the Lynx Corporation and you're sent out into space to break down ship waste and salvage it. It's got a pretty satisfying loop. Today we're going to focus on tearing apart one ship during this quick look, let you see a little bit of how the game mechanics work on the career mode, and we'll go from there. So in the career that I have loaded up, as I mentioned, I'm not terribly far into all the mechanics of the game, but I got enough here that I think I can give you an idea of what this game's trying to ask of you as a player. The overall menu that you get when you get into your ship breaking here, you can start your shift immediately where you have the info profile, any news from the Lynx Corporation. Over there for the quota, you can see that we're working on a progress towards our next certification. Your equipment loadout, the three main weapons we're going to focus on today, we're going to be using the laser cutter, the utility grapple, and probably a lot of our thrusters. There's two portions to each one of these. On the cutter, there's a variant that we can use, but really for the grapple, it's a twofold. So when I said three, it is the grapple, but we're going to be using the tethering capability of it quite a bit in the game. I also love in a working class game or a simulation based game, I really like customization. I like menus. I like skill trees. This game has a lot of that already. As you can see, there is durability ratings for each one of these weapons that will go down over usage. I don't think it's as invasive as something like Breath of the Wild's weapon degradation or some of the Fire Emblem games degradation, but this particular weapon or utility set will need to be repaired. But there are upgrades for each one. And based off the level that we currently are, there's not a lot that we can unlock. The heat capacity, so this is going to keep that from overheating. I don't have enough to do anything right now. We need to get up to 175. I'm sure we can get that after we run through a ship. But you can see how these all break down and really span out some really nice improvements. So far, like we've added some range, the strength of it. We also unlocked the tethers that I mentioned earlier. But there's some really cool things to chase and giving you the tools that you would need to be effective as a shipbreaker. Going back into this, the data recovery stuff's pretty interesting. So I didn't realize that this game was going to go in some of the directions that it has. And as I was dismantling a ship earlier, I came across this audio log where it's talking about the machine as a god system and they're an angel. So there could be some really weird things baked into this game that I think would be pretty fun to explore. It's a nice, neat layer that they bring into it. Also, you get messages here from the corporation. The certification, though, this is what I'm currently working through. So we're working to get to class 5. Once we unlock and get 5, that opens up even more levels of ships for us. So I've done my work order objectives. I've gotten a class 1 reactor, found a power cell. I've got enough money. The one thing that I'm struggling to find is furniture. And when we get into the ship catalog, you'll see what I'm talking about, where you can see what resources each ship has, and you'll know what to pull out if you need to chase a certain item here. So going back into this, there's also a sticker system. These are kind of like achievements. So I've only unlocked one so far, but you can see that these are just things that you place on your weapons and not weapons, but your tools. There's no weapons in this game. At least I don't think there is. To give it a little bit more flair. And that's your overall menu for the game. But when you start your shift, you're greeted by two things here: a current ship window and a ship catalog. If you had loaded a ship and you met all the objectives, but you still did not dismantle the entire ship, you could come back and finish the job if you wanted. You're not going to get anything from it besides a credit, or maybe you might find some more audio logs or little hidden things. But that's what would happen here. When we go into the catalog, You're going to see that you can choose through ship grades. So far, I don't have anything. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I don't have anything higher than 2. So once we get to that rank 5, we'll get this level here. But over on the right, you'll see an image of the ship. Beneath that, you'll find out who the last owner was, what the total mass and the total value are. You'll also see what core systems are in there. So if we were looking for a reactor, a power cell, or a thruster, we would know where to go. Down here, there's going to be your hazard rating. There is one that has high levels, so potentially some explosives. There's some coolant, electrical, etc. But over here on the right are the resources. These are the items that you can collect when you're breaking a ship. I don't see any with furniture, which is a big bummer. So I'm going to keep honing my skill. And I think that there's an intentional slowdown here to try and really get you familiar with the navigation and the tools. Which, quick note, this game is a little intense. I am playing with a mouse and keyboard. As a simulation, there is a lot of levels of control, from rolling your character to thrusting up and down, back and forth, managing your trajectory without gravity. So give it a chance. I will say that at first play, I was like, I don't know about these controls. They're a little tight, a little iffy. But you slide into it in a way that feels pretty good. So I think just for the sake of this today, I'll find something that has at least 3 systems in it. We'll just start with the smith. No, I take that back. Let's do this one down here. Let's do the mackerel. So this claim ship screen that pops up is basically telling you if you did have a prior ship loaded up, you'll lose it and it'll replace it with this one, which makes the most sense. Once we get into this particular screen and load into the actual shipyard, I'm going to pause after I pull up my work order and talk to you without the timer going down. So we have 15 minutes to disassemble this ship, or at least get the work order out of the way, which we need to get a thruster. It's going to be located in the very far back of the ship. We need to get some nanocarbon, which is going to be pretty easy. There's parts of the ship here that are going to be different materials, and you'll notice that when we get up against it. We need to get nacelle or whatever. I can't pronounce that, and I'm sorry for butchering it, and please don't rake me across the coals for it. And then we just need to get some metal. The way that we do all this, the actual loop here, there's 3 locations. You've got your processor over here, you've got your furnace, and you've got your barge. Each one of those is going to be determined off of what material we're going after. So things that we need to salvage or keep, you typically want to go to the processor or down to the barge itself. We can get rid of particular items by going to the furnace. As you hover over them, it'll tell you what you need to get. So when we fly out, also this location I'm at now, this work by profit station, you do need to refill a couple things in the game. So as you can see, our fuel level's at 53. I'll go ahead and grab some fuel while I'm up here. That's lasted me multiple missions. It's not been terrible by any stretch. Oxygen does deplete over time. There's an option when you first start the game up, and you can choose to not have that be the case. I chose the default configuration, which is to have oxygen go down. So you'll see me time to time come away from the ship, come back up here, buy more oxygen or refill my oxygen. Also, the tethers that I use, I can replenish those up here also. So that is a pretty normal part of the game, to come up here, move around, refill things, and then go back out and do what you have to do. Now that that's out of the way, we can start the clock back up, and I'll show you how I start to take apart the ship here. So I currently have equipped the grapple gun. This is my laser, or my cutter. That's a tether. Didn't mean to do that though. So I can pull this. That'll get me speeding up here. You do have a braking system that'll slow you down. Want to move over a bit, and I'm going to take this first piece off. So hovering over it, you can see that this is asking to go to the barge. It's telling me what material it is, which we do need to collect a decent amount of this, at least one. So if I get one chunk of this off the side of the ship, we're in good shape. I don't need to get both. I think I could effectively get both without wasting too much time here. But coming back out, I can also go into a menu that's going to show us what we're looking at here. So anything in orange is going to be structural. Anything that's yellow, these points here, that's where I want to cut to get the material off. Anything that's a dark blue color is considered a heavy panel. That requires a tether to move. I can't navigate it around with my grapple. But some of this stuff over here that's a little bit lighter, more of that turquoise blue color, I can move that on my own and use the grapple by itself. So when you're taking apart a ship, it's good to know what levels you are going to be cutting at, what materials you can get through, and where certain things need to go. So let's take off this side here. I'm going to equip the variation of this cutter that is not the horizontal cut, but the more direct beam. Go ahead and pause here. I do have this thing where the cutter temp can increase. You don't want that to be the case. Switch back over to my grapple. Again, that's going to the barge. So I'm going to connect a tether to it by right-clicking on the mouse and then dropping that click down there. And you'll see that pulls it down. And now that's on its way. We're going to come back over to the side and enter into the ship on that side. But while we're up, I can get that antenna off. That'll be helpful. We just cleared off one of our objectives, so that was simple enough. I'm going to grab this antenna with my grapple, and then I can force push it down by pressing F, and that'll shoot that down to the barge. We'll get credit for it as well. Let me come back down a little bit here, and we're going to go into this guy. I'll cut that off. Then we're going to attach this and send it back down to the barge. Now we've got two parts on the outside accounted for. Make sure there's nothing else on top. Oh, we got another one of those antennas. Let's grab it really quick. Come on. What's going on here? There we go. Move over to where I can see what I'm doing. Shoot that down. All right, so the top of the ship, nothing too crazy. But we do want to get onto that other side, as we mentioned. We want to grab that airlock. So the way that I do this, I'm going to depressure the cabin. So we'll start by opening this one up. That door's going to close. We'll get the pressure right. This is going to get us in, now that we got the airlock pressure correct. I'm going to first come up to this. I'm going to activate the atmosphere.
Air pressure level decreasing.
I'm going to open this back up.
Airlock pressure levels dropping.
And this is going to open up the door, and now everything is open. So I can bust open the walls safely without hurting myself and start to take this apart. So the first thing I want to do, this is just the way that I've been approaching some of these early ships in the game. I find it to be the most enjoyable. I'm going to pull out that cutter. I'm going to switch modes again. I'm just going to take this door right off. It's very satisfying, by the way. Once that door's open, we're going to pop back in. You're going to notice that that is the Class 1 reactor. That thing is bad news if it gets damaged. So I always pull this out first. Even though that one's not required here, it's where we're going to start. So I'm just looking for, again, if you need a reference, anything yellow, but it's also visually coded with those black and yellow caution stripes. So once I do this, I'm really going to remove the bottom level of this area, this room. And that's going to get me a direct line down to the barge, which is going to give us a safe path for this to travel. So you can see that that floor is coming off. So I'm going to give it a little nudge. It's going to push that out a bit. I got my processor over here. So what I want to do is just get out of the way, get my grapple out, attach a tether to both of these, and that's going to pull that out of the way. That goes through. If I go back down, we should have an empty location. Also, that's going towards the nanocarbon that we need. This is going to give me line of sight to two things. That needs to go into the processor. You can see it's in blue. So I'm going to grab this one, pull it towards me, and then I can just shoot this off to the processor. It'll catch it. Anything in that red area, including yourself, will get sucked into it. It's not great. But next, I want to connect a tether to the reactor, then also back down here. And boom. Safely removing that as it goes. So our oxygen's at a point now where we're going to start getting harassed to refill it. So let's just head back and do that. We'll grab a couple more tethers. Scoot up here. I'm just using this grapple to give me a little bit more of a thrust. This early in the game, we don't have all the resources yet for speed, but I also don't want to overdo it. to the point where I fly and bounce around stuff, because you can hurt yourself, and that's no good. So we'll refill oxygen, fuel, and tethers.
Tethers restored.
And we'll just head back over here. Again, I'm going to use that tether to get us into it. We do have the bottom of the ship that we can get into. But one of the other things that it does require is that thruster, which is going to live back here. So there's two things that we need to do on getting a thruster undone. We got to take this panel off. But that panel needs to go somewhere else from us. So I'm going to brake. I'm going to grab that, deplete it down, pull that towards me here. And then we're going to shoot that off to the right location. And that's going to fly over there. And now we can focus on getting out the actual thruster. So again, I'm going to grab that. I'm going to gently pull that out, create a tether, send it on its merry way. And that goes down there, and that's going to take care of that. So really, at this point, we just need to get our nanocarbon and our metal. Both are going to be super easy. We've got 8 minutes. Plenty of time. The easiest way I found to start this process, we're going to take this cap off now that all the stuff that we needed is removed. I've got only a few spots left to undock here. So we'll start taking these off. This is going to free up this end cap. It's going to open up the side panels. And once that's done, it really just becomes kind of peeling back the layers. But I find this super satisfying. Like, I like having a job. I like knowing what to do here and how to take apart these things. And the strategy in it, that's a really fun element for me also. Just making sure I don't have anything I'm missing at the top. I thought there was something. Yeah, we got that panel coming off there. So I'll just tether that one. Again, if you're not sure where something goes, just hover over it. That one's a processor. Tether that in. Right out of the way. Everything should be unhooked from here. There's a few tanks that I need to get out of it, but I found the easiest way is whenever this is being pulled away, it gives me a nice chance to take care of that. So I'll just back up, create a tether to that location. Oops. That's going to start pulling this piece off. Maybe? Did I miss a spot? I must have missed something. What we did here. Maybe we're not fully unhooked. I thought we were. Well, that's interesting. It should be coming off. Make sure I'm not missing something. I can try and sneak in here by this fuel tank really quick. That'll get us what we need. So you want to be really careful not to shoot anything super close to this, because that can cause a reaction that you don't want. So we're going to pull this back out. We're going to work on these beams. Start to pull back some of these panels. And then I'll try and get that cap off. That cap should have came off without this, though. It should have been a done deal. We'll finish this up, though. Because once we get these pulled off, that'll crank up and get those forests, no problem at all. That we're really close on the nanocarbon, and the metal will come right behind it. That's coolant there. You want to be careful not to blow that up either. You just want to blow anything up. Blowing things up in this game, not great. Definitely hurts. And this ship's pretty nice from a standpoint where we only have one airlock that we need to worry about, because that is a different way to process than the others. All right, let's get this one, and then we should be able to start to take these walls off. All right. We'll come back down here. Sneak out now. These are all cut. All right, grapple, tethers, processor. They just get pulled off like that. It's really nice, very satisfying. And you can chain these up if you want to. It's a little bit slower, but I can attach that to that, and that'll pull it with it. But you can see that these tethers do get tension, so if they don't have enough juice, it will snap it. It's also, it won't last forever either. Once that gets close, let's pull that in like so. That'll take this last piece off. Now these items need to go down into the main barge down there. So I'll just pull that down and get my bearings about me.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
Takes care of that. Come over here and grab these two. This one is another item, that power cell, that can definitely mess you up if not handled correctly.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
So that's that. We do need to get some metal going though. It's definitely not moving as quickly as possible. Let's see if we can get that pulled into there now. Go on, go on. So we're going to grab that fuel tank off of it as it's getting pulled out. We'll send that down.
Warning. Your oxygen reserves are dropping below statistically profitable levels.
Yeah, oxygen getting low.
Credits deposited.
You can do multiple tethers also
Tethers
to speed
supplied.
things up. Since we're heading back, I'll throw 3 on there really quick. And let's head back over here and get what we need. It was fast. Ooh, that was not intentionally as cool as it probably looked. That was a kind of an oh shit moment there.
Object accepted for protein landing. Credits deposited.
All right. So we got our oxygen back up,
Order is now
and that front half of the ship took care of what we needed to. So we've got about a minute, 2 minutes left. Whatever we can do in this time frame is just going to be a bonus for us. So I can come around the backside and start to go in on this location. We'll just start to break these down. And I do have an air link, not air link, but oh my god, the air lock on this side. So we want to take this out because that's worth more money if we salvage it correctly. There's 6 total things you have to take out. We probably won't get it done on here. We can come back and do this another time, but I'll at least have it ready for the next trip out, where I can just pull this side. We're just breaking through here. Got coolant again. Don't want to hit that. Ooh, there's a goodie. There's a lot of ships systems that we can control with that, but we don't really need to turn anything off at this point because we've removed it in a way that works out for us. But feel free to experiment. There might be a faster way to do all this that I'm not aware of, but I'm having fun doing it this way. All right, so all these walls will be ready. Nope, scratch that, almost. All right, these are all ready now. So we can come out the next time, which we're about to run out of time. So let's see how we did. Feel pretty good about that. That was a successful run. We did get quite a bit of extra stuff outside of what was required by that work order review. So looking over at that, again, we knocked everything out that we needed to on that list. This particular breakdown, we can scroll through and you can see I did, at some point in time, not take care of an antenna base, a light, or an antenna. There was 4 of those that I destroyed, or a total of, I'm sorry, 7. So we didn't get credit for that. This could have gone into the wrong location. I could have broke it myself by bouncing into it. But these are things that you need to be cautious of. I mean, if I would have sent the reactor to the wrong location, I mean, that's quite a bit of money that we would have been out. So it's super important to pay attention to where things go. So when we complete our shift, it takes us back to that overview for the Shipbreaker. You can see our current, our large amount of debt did go down a little bit. But in doing so, we had to pay our fees to the boss. You have to get taxed, right? So our total that we got, what we netted, was not terrible. So in doing so, did it give us anything new for equipment? Again, we're locked out from progressing to these levels until I can get that furniture part. But I can upgrade the range of my cutter, which I think would be great. So we'll upgrade that. And then everything is fully maxed out on the grapple thrusters. I don't have enough for that, but that'll probably be the next one that I do, or maybe the fuel capacity. That would be helpful. Helmet has been upgraded. I can add the audio resynth to let me know when things are around me. And then demo charges we haven't unlocked yet, which I'm sure those will be a ton of fun to play with. So maybe we'll do a part 2 down the road of Shipbreaker to show you maybe some of the later systems, maybe the new additions they will add over the early access period. It is supposed to come to console. Again, playing this on PC currently, but I think that this is a pretty good location to wrap up here. I want to say thanks for hanging out and going through it. I think this game's really cool. I know that it might be a slow burn. It might not be that action-packed game that you're used to, but I think there's something really cool about the strategy going into disassembling a ship and the systems they give you to do that. There is some quirkiness to the writing and the mechanics. I find it to be a pretty good balance of that. It's not overdone in my opinion. But I'm excited to see where this game goes. I definitely want to put some more time into it. I might even stream it over on our Twitch channel sometime. But if you have made it this far, just want to say thanks again. We are a podcast first. We post new podcasts every Friday morning. We record them live on Wednesday nights. We're also live on Twitch Monday and Friday evenings playing some games. So you can come and hang out with me. I'm joined usually each week by Chase Kinnicky from Gamer on the Go, and then the other co-host, Johnny Amizich. They often bring a fun element to the show as well. But any support you can give us would be great. We're on every major platform for podcasts, Twitch and YouTube for our video content. If there's something that you'd like to see more of, throw it in the comments. What did you like about this game? What didn't you like about this game? Sound off below. I'd like to hear more about it. But I'll be back with more exclusive content to YouTube channel with like quick looks and behind the scenes. And if not, we'll see you live on Twitch. Thanks so much.